Okay, so hello and welcome on this channel. This is basically my first video on this channel. I'll make each video in English and then the next in French. So this is the first part in English on the first part of the Python course about basic keywords in Python. So as you can see here. So what we'll study through this course, so for the setup and installation of Python, I won't go through it. If you want to look at some editors, I would recommend Thonny, which I will open over here, which is very easy to install and very easy to use. So this is a shell, and here's where you write your code basically. So it is very easy to install and to get used to. So I would recommend this for people who start coding in Python. And if you feel confident with coding in Python, I would recommend PyCharm or Sublime Text, which I got over here. Visual Studio Code also, but I would recommend PyCharm or Sublime Text. But for the beginners, I would recommend Thonny. And I won't go through the installation of it. So what we'll study through this first course is basically the print statement, a variable assignment with the equal sign, a variable types such as int, which are the z, like you go from minus infinite to plus infinite, taking only the integers, so it's a numbers class. Then string, float, Boolean, true or false, or we'll see in other cases. Lists, which we won't go through this time, but in another course we'll make a video about data structures, etc., and basic operators. So let's start over with the print statement. So basically what the print statement does is it prints out whatever you want it to print, and it returns it on the shell. So if I run this program, this here, it does this. It prints out hello world 9 and true. Hello world is a string, which we'll go through after when we'll see about variable types. 9 is an integer, and true is a Boolean type. So print is very simple. It's usually Python keywords do what they mean in English. So basically prints out the word given between the parentheses. So basically I'll do the syntax for print statements is print and statement. So basically you have to put print, add parentheses. This is since Python 3. Python 2 there were no parentheses. And you add what you want to print. You can't print, for example, to print something as a string, so to print something as I did here, hello world, for example, you have to put it between those two little things. I don't know how to call them, sorry. Or these ones, it's exactly the same. Or a string, you have to put it between this, so these two, or these two. Okay, now let's get into variables assignment. So I'll comment that out so that get it. Here's our variable assignment thing. So to assign variables to a variable, so here the variable name is string, we call it string, so to show you also the variable types, which we'll go through now. So you have to put it to separate the variable you want to assign it to, so the first one, then add an equal statement, and then add the value you want it to assign to. So basically I'll make again some syntax. I'll say that's it. Variable names equals variable value. So here, to the value of string, we associated the name hello, integer 9, floating, 0.1, boolean, true. And this is just to show you the different different variable types which we have over here. So the basic ones, the ones we'll go through for the moment, we'll go through, as I said at the beginning of the video, we'll go through lists, tuples, dictionaries, and other data structures later on. So here the type is string, so never use the string keyword. We assign to string the value hello, integer the value 9, floating the value 0.1, and boolean value true. And each of the keywords associated with each of these types is str for string, int for integer, float for floating, and bool for boolean. I can show you that there are methods. For example, if I do int, so int of floating, so this will basically transform floating into an integer because we used the keyword integer. So now if I run this, it works. So int floating transforms floating into an integer, and if I print float, float int integer, which integer here is highlighted, you see it's a value 9, it will print 9.0, no, yes, 9.0. So it transforms 9 into a floating point number. But if you try to do float of string is the value here, it won't work, as you can't transform hello into a floating point number unless you do. So I'll say string1 equals 9. If I do that and I print float of string1, you'll see it should print out, yes, it prints out 9.0. So you can transform types by using their Python keyword names. That was what I wanted to show you, and we saw now variable types. Basically the basic ones. Yes, so now about overriding variables. So basically if you assign x the value 1 and then overwrite the value of x, you'll get to overriding the value, as we say, and it changes the value from 1 to true. So I'll run this and you'll see before changing 1, as here I print the x value which was assigned here, our Python, runner runs the code by going down. So first of all it sees this and it says, okay, I'll store in my memory x, the value of 1. So x is assigned the value of 1. Before changing, he sees, he gets x in his memory and says, okay, it's 1. And then it says, okay, now I changed the value of x to true. And after changing, it gets the value of x, which was changed to true. So here you see, before changing 1, after changing true. This was just to show you the fact of overriding variables. And now we'll see about something which you'll use very, very often. So basic mathematical operations with Python. So to make addition, you add plus, you use plus, subtraction, you use minus, multiplication, you use times, and here I'll show you something that is sometimes very useful. So maybe I won't use all of them. I'll comment some things. So here we assign the value of, we assign to x the value of 4 plus 1, which is basically 5. Then we say x equals x from our memory, which was 5, minus 3, and now as we print x, we should get 2 out. Yes, it gets 2 out. So okay, and if you want to change the value of x by changing something in x, so basically you want to say you add x to 1, instead of saying x equals x plus 1, which can be sometimes a bit longer, you can just say x plus equal 1. That's a nice feature that is quite handy sometimes, so I would recommend using it. It's shorter and it's nicer, you understand. Plus equals 1, it's easily understandable. So now if you use what I said, it's not only valid for plus, it also works for so I'll write over here, it works for times equals, plus equal, minus equal, divided equal, floor division equal, modulo equal. So every mathematical operator you can apply to it, I believe. So and now we say, so x was basically here, x is the value of 2, so here it's 5, and now as you say x times equals 10 times equal 10, we change the value of it to 20, as we'd say x equals x times 10. This is the equivalent of it. Then x, this is floor division sign, so two dashes, as you can see here. And basically what it says is, as in the Euclidean division, there's a quotient, so the rest and the quotient, I don't know, I'm not sure if it's this in English. So the quotient is 3 when we divide 20 by 6, and the rest is 2. And basically the quotient, so 20, I don't know if I'm clear, but floor division is the quotient of a division, of an Euclidean division, and modulo is the rest of it. So I don't know if we say modulo in English, sorry for that. So now we have x a value of 3, assign to x a value of 3, I'll comment that out. And we should get 3 normal. Yes, we get 3. I'll comment that out. I'll get that in. And now we should get to x the value of 2. Here you are. I'll show something else. The power. So to the power. So basically if we say, so now x has a value of 20, and if we say x power equals 2, this elevates x to the power of 2, so it squares it, and we should get 400. Yes, that's it. Sometimes you can use the math library to use square root and power, but I wouldn't recommend. I think it's better to use the two stars operators, which mean power. And for square root, there's a little trick. You can use to the power of 0.5. You can take off the 0, it won't change anything. So to the power of 0.5 means you basically make the square root as x to the power of 1 over 2, so a half, is the same as square root. You get this, you get the square root of 20, which is 4.47. So we haven't seen yet any error with the floating point numbers, but there's a link. Sometimes you'll get to some weird results. Okay, and sometimes you have additional numbers like a 5, and you may get surprised. And basically I didn't get any error here, but sometimes you'll get some errors and you'll ask yourself, why is that? And to understand that, I would recommend, I'll put this link in the description, I would recommend checking out the video as I explain as variables inside computer memory are represented as binary. Some numbers can't be well expressed as a binary form, and so there are sometimes some errors in at the end of these numbers. So it doesn't seem very clear when I explain it, but you'll get the point when you'll see the video, which is a number file video, which is a very good channel, and I'll put you some other links if you need some. So this was basically the end of our video. Hope you understood everything that we went through in this video. Hope my accent wasn't too bad. And we'll see us in another video. The next one is basically conditions, I believe, or I'll do iteration. But those are two concepts you need to know in Python. So if you have any questions, do not hesitate to leave them in the comments. I'll be happy to respond to them, and I hope you enjoyed the video.